What if I told you that one of the most common, well-meaning things we say to encourage people is actually holding them back? Today, we are diving into a psychological concept that completely flips our ideas about motivation upside down. And honestly, it could change how you look at every single challenge you face from here on out.
Okay, so let's start with something we all do, right? You see a kid totally ace a test, or maybe a colleague just nails a presentation, and what's our first instinct? We praise their natural talent. We say, wow, you're so smart. We think we're giving them the ultimate confidence boost.
But what if that praise, as well-intentioned as it is actually setting them up to fail? It sounds crazy, I know, but some groundbreaking research has uncovered this startling paradox. Praising someone's innate intelligence can seriously backfire. It can actually hurt their motivation and their performance, especially when things get tough.
All right, so here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to unpack this praise paradox, figure out why praising effort is so much better than praising identity, and then we'll literally look at what's happening inside your brain when you fail. After that, we'll even get into how to harness stress and turn it into a good thing. And we'll wrap it all up with a practical toolkit you can start using today.
Okay, so first up, this praise paradox. What's it all about?
Well, it really all starts with a landmark study from a Stanford psychologist, Dr. Carol Dweck. And this study, it basically planted the seed for the entire field of what we now call a growth mindset.
Yeah, so her 1998 paper, which she wrote with Claudia Mueller, it revealed something that just goes against everything we think we know. It found that praising a child's intelligence, telling them they're smart, didn't help. It actually had a negative effect. And the results, they were just undeniable.
So how does that even work? How can praise be bad? Well, it all comes down to a really crucial distinction. It's about whether we praise who someone is versus what someone did.
The difference might seem subtle, but trust me, it is so powerful. So on one hand, you have intelligence praise. This is all about labels, right? You're so smart, you're such a natural. This ties success to a fixed identity, something you just are. But then you have effort praise, and this focuses on verbs, on the actions. You worked so hard on that, or I love how you didn't give up. See the difference? It connects success to things you can actually control.
And the consequences of that label-based praise, they were just shocking. The students who were told they were smart, they immediately started playing it safe. They began choosing easier problems because they didn't want to risk their smart status. And when they did face harder tasks, their performance actually dropped. They gave up way faster. And, get this, they were even more likely to lie about their scores, just to protect that label.
I mean, just look at this chart. It lays out the difference so clearly. The control group, basically no change. The group that got the intelligence praise, their scores actually dropped by 20%. But the group praised for their effort, their performance shot up by 30%. The takeaway here is just crystal clear. Praising the process builds people up, but praising innate ability, it can actually tear them down.
Okay, so what in the world is happening inside our brains to cause such a massive difference? It really all boils down to one thing: how we interpret mistakes and failure.
See, when you praise intelligence, you encourage what's called a fixed mindset. And that's pretty much what it sounds like. It's the belief that your abilities are set in stone. You're either born smart or you're not. That's it.
And think about it. If your ability is fixed, then a mistake isn't just a mistake, right? It feels like a final judgment on who you are as a person. So your brain literally goes into threat mode. It shifts activity to its emotional centers, and you get defensive. Why? Because your entire identity feels like it's under attack. But on the flip side, when you praise effort, you build a growth mindset. And this is the really powerful belief that your abilities aren't fixed at all. They can be developed. You can get smarter, you can get better through practice, good strategies, and just plain old hard work.
And with that mindset, your brain's response to failure does a complete 180. An error isn't a threat anymore. It's just valuable information. Brain imaging studies actually show this happening. The activity shifts away from the emotional parts and over to the cognitive centers. Your brain starts treating the mistake less like an emotional gut punch and more like a fascinating puzzle to solve. It's just a signal telling you what to work on for next.
Okay, a growth mindset is obviously super powerful, but what if we could supercharge it? We can, by combining it with another mindset, one that totally reframes an experience every single one of us has: stress.
What if stress isn't actually the enemy we make it out to be? There's research from another Stanford doctor, Alia Crum, that shows that what you believe about stress can completely change its effect on your body. Adopting a stress-is-enhancing mindset means you start to see a racing heart not as a sign of panic, but as a signal that your body is rising to the occasion, gearing you up for peak performance.
And the physical effects of this belief are just remarkable. If you think stress is bad for you, your body releases the stress hormone cortisol for a longer period of time. But if you see stress as helpful, your body's response is way more efficient. The cortisol clears out faster, your heart actually pumps blood more effectively, and the whole hormonal effect can shift from something that breaks your body down, that's catabolic, to something that builds it up, anabolic. That's amazing.
Now, when you put these two mindsets together, the synergy is incredible. In some studies by Dr. David Yeager, they did a single 30-minute online session with students. That's it, just 30 minutes teaching them about growth mindset and the stresses-enhancing mindset. And that one session led to a 14% increase in students passing their most difficult courses, just from changing their beliefs. That's insane.
Okay, so the big question is, how do we actually do this? How can we start to cultivate these mindsets in our own lives, or for our kids, or even for our teams at work? Well, here are a few key science-backed actions you can take.
All right, here's your toolkit. First up, praise the process, not the person. So instead of, "you're a genius," try something like, "wow, I love the strategy you used there." Second, actively reframe your stress. When your heart starts pounding before a big presentation, literally say to yourself, "good, this is my body giving me the energy I need to crush this." Third, become an error detective. When something goes wrong, switch from feeling bad to getting curious. Ask yourself, okay, what can I learn from this? And finally, the best way to learn it is to teach it. Explain these ideas to someone else. It's one of the fastest ways to really make them stick for yourself.
You know, when you really get this stuff, it changes the entire meaning of difficulty. Frustration isn't a stop sign anymore. It's actually a signpost pointing to exactly where growth is happening. So the question really isn't about whether you're smart enough or talented enough. The real question is, knowing that you can grow, what challenge are you going to choose to tackle next?